Hello and welcome to Love Talk. Good evening. Every Thursday we are here together to bring to you advice that works for your love life. Next to me as usual is my wife.
Hi everybody, we are out again, beautiful weather, just a little bit windy.
That's right. Let's talk about the question. Today we're going to speak about the question right at the beginning of the program. Someone said to us the following question. My previous relationship finished 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, my boyfriend cheated on me. But I just met someone who is making me happy. And I thank God that I have this relationship. What advice can you give me so I don't have the same problems of the past? Well, the first advice I want to give you, because you said the other relationship just broke up 2 weeks ago, is that maybe you're moving a little bit too fast. I think when a relationship ends, Lena, even especially if someone cheated on you, it could be for various reasons, because when you started dating, you didn't see the person was a cheater, you didn't get to know him very well. Perhaps, I don't know, you need to see and identify first what the problem is. And even if the person cheated, they were the cheater, there's always things we can learn from relationships that go wrong. And I think if you move to a new relationship that quick, it's a recipe for disaster. Usually we always advise people, if a relationship broke up, something went wrong, wait a little bit. See where things went wrong, see what mistakes happen, if it was from your side, from his side, what you can learn from that, and try to take some time to correct those things so you don't make the same mistakes in the future again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually trying to choose my words here because it's not normal when you are in a relationship and you really like the person for you to just quickly move on so fast. There's something wrong there. Yes, there's something wrong with the person who betrayed you, but there's also something wrong with you. Maybe with something to do with your inner self. So the neediness, there's something wrong there inside of you. I don't know if you want to prove a point to your friends or family or to yourself that you can still be happy, but I think you started off on the wrong foot, like they say once again.
But I think also the main problem is that the fact you feel the need to be with someone so quickly may be to prove a point that something is seriously wrong within you. When we say that, it means that you may be far away from God. You may have issues in you that you need to resolve before you move on to a new relationship. Usually when people don't want to be alone, don't want to be single, is because they don't want to have enough time to see the mistakes that are happening inside of them. So our advice to you is, if you met someone, put that on hold for a while. See what you need to address, what you need to work on in yourself. Give yourself time. Give yourself time to see what could have been different, what could have changed, and that's going to give you a better perspective to make better decisions in your love life in the future. Okay? Let's listen to a beautiful song. You can see Elena is fighting with her hair because of the wind.
No problem.
But we'll be back after this song to talk about today's topic.
Just like everyone, I've made my plans in projects that I want to fulfill, but the voice of faith makes me understand that nothing matters if I don't know just like everyone, I've made my plans in projects that I want to fulfill. But the voice of faith makes me understand that nothing matters if I don't know you, Lord. What is the point of my existence if in my soul I don't have your presence? What's the worth of all silver and gold if my greatest desire is to have you, Lord? Lord Jesus Christ, baptize me with your Holy Spirit, and may your nature be inside of me, so that I can contemplate your greatness, to be a witness wherever I go, and to bring your love to the entire world. Lord Jesus Christ, baptize me with your Holy Spirit, and may your nature be inside of me, so that I may contemplate your greatness, to be a witness wherever I go, and to bring your love to the entire world.
Welcome back. So, before we talk about love life, and this example we're going to give you has to do with love life, let's talk about one of the greatest miracles Jesus did. You are probably familiar with the resurrection of Lazarus. Jesus brought Lazarus back from the dead, and this was something that no one could do. No one could bring Lazarus back from the dead, only Jesus. But still, when Jesus arrived at the place where Lazarus was buried, he asked someone to remove the stone. There was a stone blocking the grave, and he asked someone to move that stone. So you see that even when a person is dead, when a person was dead in the time of Jesus, miracles could not happen without someone's participation. A miracle is something impossible for anybody to do. No one could have done that miracle. But there is, even if it's a small participation from the person who received the miracle, so that the miracle can happen. So we're talking about two things here: the impossible and the possible. What God can do and what we have to do. And, you know, when we talk about a marriage, what is the impossible? Only God can change a person. Only God can change a wife. Only God can change a husband. Only God can make a person who doesn't want to have anything to do with you to see the qualities you have. But at the same time, for that change to happen, there is a requirement of the person's participation. So for example, usually we talk about married couples first. Today we're going to talk about singles first. Many people want God to do the impossible, to make the right person to appear. But they don't want to do the possible. For example, you were married before. That marriage fell apart. But you don't want to deal with the annulment, the divorce. How can the person who knows they have to deal with that problem move forward? How can God bring someone if you're still legally attached to someone else? You need to resolve that problem, because otherwise God cannot do his part.
Well, when people talking about this big, huge problem called annulment, is that, you know, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. That person loves me. They know of my past. But in the eyes of God, you are in sin. So what can you do? Maybe you say you don't have the money. But what do? You start the process of the annulment, and then you will use your faith and ask God to provide for you. You will save. You will do what only you can do, and leave the impossible for God to do. Now, what some people do, often I hear, is this: no, Bishop, I believe in my heart that things will work out. What does that mean, I believe in my heart? It doesn't mean anything.
Or some people, Elena, some people
What does
say,
that mean?
Some people say, when I find someone, I will then deal with the annulment. But the annulment is so expensive, the divorce is so expensive, you need to start preparing for that now, so that you can be free when you meet someone.
Absolutely. And yes, it is expensive, but look back on how many years you've been wanting to do the annulment. If you had saved every week a little bit of money, you would have paid it by now. So you see, we cannot blame God. Oh, God didn't do a miracle. A miracle is what only God can do. That's why it's called a miracle. But we've got to work. We've got to plan. We've got to act.
Yeah, and the single, of course, sometimes they understand there is a need to go and talk to someone. They see someone they like, a person who is of God in the church, but the person's afraid. What if I go there and speak to them and they reject me? Well, God can touch the person's heart to like you, but God is not going to talk to the person for you. You need to remove that stone. You need to remove the stone of the annulment of this relationship that is never going to work because your partner moved on, has children with someone else, doesn't want anything to do with you. Years ago, you don't even want that person anymore, but you are forgetting about that annulment. You single who are waiting for the right, perfect person to appear, but you forget about working on yourself. That stone you need to work on. Let's move on to the couples now, because a lot of people tell us like this: Bishop, my husband is a problem. My wife is a problem. You know, it's very difficult to remember someone who came to us and said, Bishop, I am the problem.
Actually, I think I can count them in the fingers of one hand.
How many times we have heard that?
Yeah, maybe 2 people since we've been counseling, like
Yeah.
for 18 years.
A lot of people say the other person's the problem. You know, the other person is the impossible. If they have a problem, that's God who's going to change. But what are you going to do? What is the stone that you're going to move? What is the stone God is asking you to move? Maybe God is asking you to remove the stone of your selfishness. Maybe you're a selfish person. Maybe you are a grudgeful, hateful person. You hold on to the resentments of the past, the things of the past. You hold on to things that have happened in the past. And you are waiting, holding on for the change of the other person, the resurrection of that person into a person of God. But you haven't even moved the stone yet. In order for Jesus to resurrect Lazarus, someone had to move the stone.
Absolutely. And in this case, how do you remove the stone? You know, you have to understand the other person. Everyone has a past. Everyone was brought up in a different way. So maybe your removing of the stone is for you to be more understanding, more patient, and understand why the person behaves the way they behave. And then ask God to change them, to help them deal with their inner issues, because we cannot change people. I want you to remember this. Gosh, my hair is fighting me, but no problem. Let's focus on the message. So we cannot change people. We can only pray, and this is where prayer is a very important way as well of removing the stone, of doing your part, is when you pray intelligently. Don't just pray, my God, change my husband. What does that mean? Change him what? Change the color of his hair? No, my God, help him deal with his inner issues so that he can see that he needs help. So also for the wife, my God, help my wife. She's so grumpy. My God, help her see that she needs to see a doctor. You know, she has a problem, or she has a hygiene problem, or she has this problem. So you don't just go to the person. That's not removing the stone and offend the person and confront the person all the time, telling them, oh, you are so this, you are. Be patient. Wait for the right time. Pray. And act when God directs you to act, or when it's the time. When it's the time to act.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important.
For a miracle to happen, there is God's part and there is our part. God's part is only done when our part has been complete. Very soon in the church we are going to have the Never Again event, the day of Never Again. You want to look at your marriage and say, never again we will have the same problems of the past. But have you done everything you could have done? Have you removed the stone? Maybe you're asking God to resurrect your marriage when you haven't moved your stone. God will not do the things we need to do. You know, just for us to finish here, in the beginning of our marriage, when we had a problem, I was very good at giving my wife the silent treatment for days, right? Sometimes for days, I wouldn't talk to her, as if that was going to solve the problem. So there was a point we understood we had to do something else. We had to immediately talk about the problem, immediately solve it, not leave it festering, getting worse day by day. I had to remove that stone. I couldn't ask God or wait for God to do something else when I had that task to do. So with today's program, we want to challenge you to do something. Ask yourself, as a single person, as a divorced person, as a married person, as a widowed, no matter your circumstances, what is the stone you need to remove? Because once you remove that stone, you can be sure that the miracle is going to happen.
The Never Again event on March 17th. This special Sunday is for anyone who is tired of problems or situations that keep coming back into their lives again and again and again. It's so revolting to see sickness destroying your health again, debts creeping into your finances again, arguments, grudges, and unfaithfulness attacking your marriage again. Depression, stress, fear, and doubt affecting your future again. Now is the perfect time to act by faith. The book of 1 Samuel chapter 7 verse 13 says, "So the enemies of Israel were subdued, and they did not again come into the territory of Israel." They did not come again. Come and do your part, and when you do, God will certainly do His.
When did the problem start in your life?
My problem started when I was 16 years old. I went to a party with my friends and I tried ecstasies. I thought that it was fun. That's why I thought that it was fun. It was a way to forget my problems. When I was 18, I started to get more involved with people that they were using drugs and they were offering to me. So I started to take it. So I will be taking drugs maybe in a party for 12 hours without stopping. And
What drugs would you be taking?
I was very addicted to cocaine. And then, and also I was taking crystal meth. Nobody knew that I was that addicted, not even my friends. But inside of me, I knew that I was going out just to find a drug.
Why do you think that it was so important for you to take drugs? Did you want to forget about something?
Actually, because in my house there were a lot of problems. My mom, she was always upset and shouting. My family always shouting. I wanted to forget about all this life that I had at home. When I was out at night, I would forget about everything. I would do just what I wanted. I would just have fun, be with my friends, and I will have drugs, just like, oh, this is my moment. I don't think about no one. I don't think about problems at home. For me, it was fun. But then it got to a point that it wasn't fun anymore.
And at that point where the drugs were taking over your life, you said you would take cocaine every single night. Without fail, every night you were taking drugs. Where did you find the money to buy those drugs?
When you go in nightclubs, whoever goes to nightclubs, you know, you get mixed. You get to know people in the night. You get to know people and you have it free if you are friends of the drug addict, or you can even buy it. I used to work also at night in the nightclubs and like a waitress, so I will always have money for me to spend.
When was the point where you thought, this is not a joke anymore, this is not fun anymore? What happened in your life that you thought, this is getting serious now?
I got pregnant for my actual daughter. And I thought, okay, because I know I cannot be able to take care of this child, because the way I am, I know who I am inside, and I'm not able to take care of this child. I'm going to take drugs until this baby goes out of me.
So you thought, I'll take as much drugs as I can to see if I lose the baby.
Yes.
Did you lose the baby?
No, I didn't lose the baby. The baby stayed because I thought, this baby doesn't want to go. I took a lot of drugs, like 24 hours I was having drugs that day, and nothing happened. I just feel like I was having an overdose, but nothing happened. The baby was fine. I went to the doctors, the baby was fine. So I decided to keep it, and I decided to travel, to forget about my problems, to forget about...
That's when you came here to the UK?
Yes, that's when I came to the UK.
Coming here to run away from drugs and try to do well for your daughter, did you have problems here as well?
Yes. So when I came here, I thought that I would be starting a new life, but that new life, it didn't start there. So because I was still in that type of life, I got into trouble, and the social services, they wanted to take away my daughter from me. So I was really desperate because the child I didn't want before. Now that it was in my hands, I really want her, and I felt really scared that they will take my child from me. So I decided to, I was crying on the street, desperate, completely desperate. So my friend came and she invited me to the UCKD.
How did your life change?
When I came to the UCKD, I saw different, the people, it was different, the place, it was different. So I decided, with time, it wasn't for one night, it was with time, I decided to give everything. I wanted to change so desperate that I gave my life to God.
And that's what made you change.
Yes, I said,
How long have you been free from cocaine, crystal meth, and the lifestyle that you had?
5 years now.
For 5 years you haven't touched any drugs.
No, no smoke, no cigarette, no cocaine, no crystal meth, no nothing.
People at home are watching this now, and they can see a woman who they don't know who she is, they don't know your face, a woman who tried to lose her daughter by taking a lot of drugs. Would you be okay showing people who you are now? You are a different woman. For 5 years, you've been a different woman. Would you be okay revealing to people at home who you are?
Yes, I have no problem. My name is Elisa Bosepa, and today I'm a different woman.